Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today. We are getting started here today discussing renovation secrets, one of the most important parts of the real estate journey. I'm so excited, as I said, to be here with you today. We're going to discuss probably one of the biggest pain points for most real estate investors. And I myself, who's been through a lot, who've already learned all of this, is here to share with you that information today. My name is Scott Lurie with the Hard Money Co. We put on a free webinar series. This is a free webinar series. We will never sell you anything. I don't have anything to sell you. We are putting this on for the sole benefit of you, the real estate investor. When I started my journey in real estate, we didn't have free webinars. A matter of fact, 20 years ago, we really didn't have coaches or mentors or any of the like. We had the streets and marketing, which were pretty much done through regular U.S. Postal Service. And the world has evolved, and it's such a great place to be in real estate. When we talk a little bit about the free webinar series, we've already done a few of them already. We've already done the intro into private money. We've done a really nice webinar into valuation insights. Our last webinar, we did tax planning. I hope all of you caught that. There was some really great information, and taxes are so critical to being a successful real estate investor. So today's session is on rehab strategies and renovation strategies, and we're going to really hone into the process. A little bit about the Hard Money Co. We are a private hard money lender. We fund your deals, repairs, dreams, flips, and rentals. We finance any 1 to 4 family real estate transactions. That's our bread and butter. And we have successfully completed over 500 transactions last year. And we help a lot of people fulfill their dreams in real estate. So a little bit about me, for those of you who have never met me before. My name is Scott Lurie. I started in real estate in August of 2003 with nothing. I didn't have any real estate, I didn't have any assets, and I sure as hell didn't have any money. But what I did have was just one goal, and that was 100% hustle. All I wanted to do was make money, create generational wealth, be wealthy, have cash flow, and enjoy life. But I knew to get there, I had to work my butt off. And every day we continue to do so. We continue to spend countless hours of joy here with our team at F Street, building our world. I love coming into the office every day. I love our team. I love everything we're creating. And it's so great to be here with you today. If you're looking to find me on social media, at Hard Money Scott, you can find me on Instagram. Share it with you or your friends. We have some content that goes out. It's all great content, and we'd love to have you join us. If you have any questions during this webinar, please either put it in the chat. We will get to the questions. It's best that this is an interactive webinar. If you have something that I've said that you don't understand, feel free to ask it. You're not alone in the room, and whatever your question is, someone else probably has the same. So a little bit about the path to wealth, a little bit more about me. I grew up in a middle-class family. I was very fortunate to grow up in a middle-class family, but as we know, that middle class is shrinking. Our growth and experience, knowing I had no money and no assets, but just pure drive and hustle, I had to find people with OPM or other people's money. I gave away in such a positive fashion. I built partnerships and friendships that have been going on for 20 years and have made them millions and millions of dollars, and it's the greatest reward I have had. Other people's money is not a scary word. It's the only way in real estate we can do so well. And so be grateful for OPM and everything that needs to happen. But when I was out there, I realized that the lending solutions needed to become more accessible to the world, and so we created the Hard Money Co. So we talk a little bit about some business tips. We'll throw these in there for your reading. They'll be available for you. I've got a lot of content today and only 1 hour of time, so I'm going to blaze through some of this. Some of it we're going to dig into. We're going to talk about some of the most painful parts of real estate, but the best parts, where the value is created, and I'm super excited to share some of that with you. So when we talk about renovation planning, most people miss the most important phase in this entire step, which is the importance of planning. Most people don't spend the time And to the same token, some people spend too much time and never get to a transaction. So the importance of planning is obviously the efficiency of how the world is going to evolve. And you as the real estate investor need to be able to plan and nimbly get through this process. The renovation process, by far, without doubt, is the most disturbing and painful part of the burst strategy, the fix and flip strategy, or just the sweat equity strategy. Every time you peel back the onion, you've got more problems. Every time you have a contractor who somehow never shows up. Anyone have a contractor who said they'd be there at 8 a.m. on Monday morning and you haven't seen them since you met them at 3 years ago? I do. I got about 100 of them. Put yes in the chat if you've had that contractor who's going to be there Monday morning in 2021 and you still haven't seen them. I do. I've got tons of those stories. I've got tons of those stories of contractors pretending to show up, wanting down payments, wanting to fulfill your dreams, and they can do it, talk the best game in the house. Maybe they have some religious aspect in their LLC. Maybe they throw some God in their religious LLC, and they never show up, right? These are not the people that we want to do business with, but these are the people that are out there. So I myself, before we get into the importance of planning, I myself have been burned by a contractor. Have you? I myself have given contractors money and they've not shown up. That's happened to me. I myself have told the contractor we have to be done by X date and we're still working with that contractor to get the project done. I still have that problem. I have a contractor who said they're going to pull permits and everything's going to be done to code, and nothing's done to code and no permits have been pulled. All of that has happened to me throughout my journey in flipping hundreds of houses. If it cannot happen to you because of this webinar, I will be so grateful for the pain that I've gone through, the tireless nights that I've gone through, the nights that I've shown up at a rehab and the crew has decided that the rehab is now the place they're sleeping for the next few months. Anyone have that happen? They moved right into the project. Happens all the time. Happened to me. So let's talk about the importance of planning. The importance of planning. You certainly plan, you can avoid mistakes. You're not going to avoid all mistakes, but you can avoid mistakes, right? You can stay on track. What's the most important part? One of the most important parts about the real estate world? Staying on track. And then most importantly to what everything we're doing is maximizing our ROI, return on investment, right? So staying on track. What do they say? The number one statement in everything we do? T equals this. Does everyone know what that means? Time equals money. It's no more certainly true than in the fix and flip and the burst strategy on the single family, 1 to 4 family, 8 family, 16 family. I'm looking at a loan right now. Someone has been rehabbing 36 units for 3 years. They're in a hard money loan. They're looking to have us refinance into another hard money loan. There is a lot of spread. They bought the property right, but it's taken them 3 years. If I was rehabbing that, in my goal, that would be a 6-month project from start to finish. And I would do that through planning. So avoid the mistakes. You want to be thorough, but not overly thorough. So remember, don't overthink what you're doing, but think through what you're doing. Plan what you're doing. How many people have seen a bathroom like this? This was at one of my rehabs. I've seen it. I actually was like, hey, that's got a lot of potential, I think. So planning ahead of it, what are you planning on doing? What's your end game? So avoiding mistakes is very important to identify what you're doing today, what your plan is for tomorrow, right? So are you a buyer and holder? Are you trying to execute the burst strategy? Does the burst strategy have a different strategy or a different plan than what the fix and flip strategy is? Sure, of course. And so you have to kind of think through in details of what you're going to do. As you're walking through the house, you're thinking, I'm walking through thinking about what I'm going to be doing to the property, and I already know my exit strategy. I've got one rehab right now. I'm 100% selling. There's enough margin in the deal. Market demand is high. I can swing for the fences and make a $150,000 profit. I know I'm selling it. There is no way in hell I'm ever renting it. I will lower my price before I ever sell it. That's my mind. So plan, avoid the mistakes. Think through the property. Everyone takes their phone, take tons of pictures while you have the time on property. Stay on track. Timelines are so important as are budgets. There are so many free softwares out there, or even there are softwares you get to pay for, SaaS softwares. They're $9, $10, $20 a month. Everyone says, I don't want to spend $20 a month on software. And I say to myself, holy smokes, $20 a month to save you $100,000 or to keep you on track for 2 weeks? Why don't you want to spend the money? And most people's answer is not rational at that point, but staying on track is so important. Timeline is important. When you're talking to your contractor, if you start here, which is your start date, and you're going to the finish date, which is final day, right? So cleaning and inspection, what are you doing to stay on time? How are you holding your contractor accountable? These are all things that we're going to discuss as we get through the timelines and then your budget. Timeline's very important, equal to budget. On our website, we have a scope of work budget. You can download, it's free, and it allows you to take into consideration almost every aspect of a rehab that you can start putting money into and getting budgets out. How much does a kitchen cost? How much is a linear feet of gutter? How much does a roof cost per square? How much does it cost me to finish a basement? What does an egress window cost in the basement? These are items that if you have not experienced a rehab or are rehabbing right now and don't know the answers, we're going to figure those out together, but you should also be yearning for that knowledge every single day that you're out there rehabbing, learning, looking at properties. So what is everyone's goal when they're doing real estate? Let me be abundantly clear. This is the most important part of the world. What is everyone's goal? No one's in this for a nonprofit. I am in the real estate business specifically to maximize return and make the most amount of money or cash flow. Do we all agree with that? Are we all in it for the same reason, or is there someone else have some other reason why they're in real estate? Everyone in it for cash flow or cash? Which one? Money or money flow? Write it in the chat. Let's hear what you are. How many money flows do we got? A lot of money flows? Okay, so people are in it for the money. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about the return on investment. Don't kid yourself. Well, next time I'll do better. No, do better right now. Maximize your return. It's so critically important. And so as we're going through this process, we're going to look to maximize our return to make sure that we can make sure that the outline and our budget and our timeline equal our maximum ROI. So let me tell you one of my tricks for ROI when I'm rehabbing a house. Almost all of my houses, I put in a 60-inch fridge. Okay? That's a 30-inch freezer and a 30-inch refrigerator. And it looks like this. And when everyone walks into it, they say, oh my God, this kitchen is amazing. And I walk away with their maximum return on investment because that costs me $3,000. $3,000, which is an additional $1,500 on return, gets you a maximum return on investment. People fall in love with this. They fall in love with that refrigerator, and every time they fall in love with it, I maximize my return. Okay. So let's talk about the planning of rehabbing. How many people in the audience today are rehabbers for the purpose of fix and flip? Okay, and how many are in there for burst strategy or value add rental? We got about 50-50, you think? Okay, so we got about 50-50 of the audience that does a little bit of both. So think about the rehab planning. When you're rehab planning, what is your exit strategy? When I'm flipping for sale, I know what gets people to buy a house. Curb appeal, kitchens, baths. When I'm going for rent, it's a whole different scenario, but you still want to be able to get the maximum dollar of rents. So people do look at kitchens and baths, it's important, but the finishes and the grades is a whole different caliber for that user than when I'm fix and flipping for the end user. So let's talk about the rehab planning process. Define your goal. What is your goal? Are you a fix and flip for sale, or are you a rehabber who's doing the burst strategy? Both are completely acceptable. I do both. I build value add multifamily. I flip houses for sale. I flip houses for rent. So define your goal. When you walk into the property, what are you doing? What is your end game? Once you define that, then everything else should fall in line with you. Okay, now sometimes we have to assess the condition before we can define our goal, right? So these might be inverses of each other. You might go up or down or up, but thinking through it is important. I found a beautiful home in a beautiful community, but it has a white elephant. It's got an electrical line sitting out front of it, or it abuts to a major apartment complex, or it doesn't have any off-street parking. These are things that might shift you from a fix and flip to a burr, because guess what? We make all of our money on the... Where do we make all of our money, guys? Someone can write the word in with me. Buy. We make our money when we buy the house. The way we realize the money is by executing on our goal or our plan, and that's how you materialize the money. But we make our money on the buy. Think about it. Every time I buy a flip, I already know how much I'm going to make. Whether I'm going to make it by leveraging it through debt or I'm going to sell it to a consumer, I already know how much I made. I just don't have it in my pocket, which is good. I got to go get it. And so we're going to do that. So assessing condition is an important part of it. The condition is not only the property, it's the location, it's also the neighborhoods, the school districts, it's everything. Assess everything. And then go back to your goal. What is your goal? I like to look at a property right away, and I'm going to, with conviction and in 10 seconds, tell you what I'm doing with that property. I know that. I know I'm buying and holding this property because I want to own a duplex in a growing urban market where I can increase rents over the next 5 years and increase my NOI, which increases my value. I want to own that asset. Or I want to sell this single family home where it's worth $650,000. I can only get $3,000 a month in rent. I want to sell that baby. Define that today. Anybody working on a rehab today that started as a rental, buy and hold, and now we're flipping it? Or vice versa, we're flipping it and now it's going to be a rental because we made some mistakes? That's a very common problem. It happens often. My goal to you today is to not have that problem happen as often. Reduce those errors. Create a budget. This is one of the things I'm so good at today. I'm proud of where I am today. It took me 20 years. I can tell you as a lender, we see multiple loan modification requests because investors didn't account for something. So what does that mean? I built a budget. My budget is this great budget and they've missed 3 items or 5 items. Think about that. What did you miss? One person missed a staircase. One person missed a foundation problem. That's most common, foundation error. Some people missed the roof that they didn't need done, or they didn't take into account the inspector was going to make them do additional work. So while you're creating your budget, take the time to be detailed. Visit our website and grab our scope of work. It's free. Then develop your timeline. How long is the rehab going to be? 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Time is money. Faster the better. And then secure your financing. Whether you're using a hard money lender, a private lender, you're using your own cash, whatever you're doing. All of this in a great business plan makes this piece super easy. When people come to us with a loan application and it's buttoned up and it's complete and it's concise, the first thing we all say is, this person understands the business. Do you understand the business? So define the goals. We briefly touched on that. Assess the condition. We touched on that as well. Are there any questions about defining your goals or assessing your conditions? Create a budget. We got budgets for you. Pull up a scope of work. Start there with your budget. Develop a timeline. We use different softwares. Find a software. There's free ones out there. There's more expensive ones out there. And then obviously secure your financing. Okay? These are great plans. It's a great opportunity for you to be successful in the first phase of rehabbing houses. Renovation is work. Do the work. Scope of work. Let's get into this a little bit, okay? How many people have flipped a house and have absolutely no background in flipping houses? Me. Anyone else? Anyone else have really confused about the renovation process? What is a linear foot of gutters? Do I need to put downspouts on? Am I doing a roof? What if there's a flat roof attached to it? How am I doing all of the various things with the kitchen? Am I putting in tile? Am I tiling in the bathrooms all the way to the ceiling? What about the kitchen cabinets, which we see all the time, cabinets that are misplaced or ordered improperly and then they're hung improperly? We've seen it all. People that are putting in tile that they're getting that's half black, half white, half green. I'm like, hey, wait a second, what are you doing here? Well, it's for a tenant. Well, what kind of tenant are you going to get that's going to be in there that wants a blue, green, purple, and orange tile? A bad one, I promise you. Normal, good people don't want 50 different colors of tile on their bathroom floor. It just doesn't happen. So going back into the scope of work, detail the document. Use an Excel sheet. Use a workbook. They're so easy. We have some on our website. There's tons out there. But use the detailed process as to what you understand as far as your scope of work and what you're going to get done. Any questions so far? All right, we got a quiet audience today. Hopefully everyone's eating lunch. Doesn't want to type with food in their mouth. Is that a dad joke? It's kind of funny. I liked it. All right, fine, never mind. Denver liked it. Renovation tools. What are some of the tools that we can use to make you better? What are the tools that you're using? Someone type in the chat what tool you're using today to renovate your homes or to renovate your projects or to manage your projects better. Someone type in one thing into the chat. We got one in there? Okay. Okay. Excel. Excel's a phenomenal tool. It's great. We use Google Sheets because I can share them with you and my contractor, and we can all type and speak in the same language and share conversations. It's great. So Excel's a phenomenal software. There are project management softwares out there. There's contractor bidding software out there, platforms. There are online design tools. There's a tool out there on your phone. You take a picture and you can make the room look exactly like the way you want it and bid out the cabinets. And then there's construction calculators, guys. All of this is out there per linear foot. There's some that even count for inflation. There's some that count for financing. There's so much out there as far as tools go. So let's talk about the project management softwares. Here's a couple. You can make all of these, Asana, Notion, Monday.com. This is probably our favorite, Monday.com. But you can make all of these work. They're great software. Some of them are free, some of them have trials, and some of them are going to cost you a few bucks. You're never going to waste money being organized. Ever. You'll never waste a nickel being organized. Let's talk about contractor bidding platforms. Contractors are the reason why people struggle to be successful in the renovation business. Okay? There are bidding platforms that you can find qualified contractors on. How many people GC their own rehabs? GC, general contract, meaning you hire all the trades. How many people hire a GC? So I used to GC myself. I used to be the guy that was hiring the painter, the tiler, the plumber, the electrician, the HVAC contractor, the roofer, the window installer, the siding installer. I used to do all of that myself. As my time has dwindled, I hire a general contractor. He does everything for me. So my point of contact is to the general contractor. When I visit the project, I'm visiting it with the general contractor. When I'm setting timelines, I'm doing with the general contractor. It costs me more, about 10% more of the total rehab budget goes to the general contractor. So I could save money on a $100,000 rehab. I could save $10,000, but my time today, unfortunately, is spread thin, so I'm hiring a general contractor to do that work for me. Okay? You can find contractors that are out there, qualified contractors. We talked briefly about general contractors, and I want to remind you, the most important wise words that ever are said and that are said often is, you get what you pay for. And it is so true in this business. How many people have been screwed by a contractor? Where did you meet them? I got screwed by a contractor I met at a bar. Yes. Met at Home Depot. Yes. I very rarely have met people that come as a referral from a referral and they have become a great contractor. That's who's been good to me. So be mindful here. Measure twice, cut once, inquire. The biggest due diligence you can do on a contractor, whether it's your HVAC contractor or your plumber or your electrician or your drywaller or your floor tiler or floor installer, is get references. Most people, if you ask for a reference, should easily be able to say, here they are. Most times they say, oh, I've got great references and can I get money? And they don't give you any of that. We have seen so many people come through that have been taken advantage of by contractors. Hit the pause button and do your due diligence. Construction cost calculators. There's so many out there, guys. Google is such a wild place, but there's so many people that have so many great tools that are out there. The most important part is location-specific costs. We all acknowledge that. I don't know where everyone's from. Type your state in the chat so we can kind of see where everyone's from. Let's just hear where everyone's from. Shout out to Wisconsin, where I'm sitting right now, but put in the chat where you're from, just your state. There is a difference between what it costs you to hang drywall in Wisconsin and Florida, Maryland. There's differences everywhere. It costs a lot more during prime season in Florida to do something than it does in off season. So thinking through what it's going to cost you in these markets and location specific to you is very important, because construction cost calculation is going to help you get an accurate budget so that your budget is 100% efficient. And then as you look at investor tools, we all talked about Excel. Excel is a phenomenal tool. We use Google Sheets, which is Excel, but it allows us to interact through that process with other people involved that share. So it's a reasonable statement to create a timeline and create your budget and share it with your general contractor. Well, I don't use Gmail. I don't use G Sheets. Well, if you'd like to work with me and get my money, it's not that hard. It's a free app. And everybody has figured out how to get there. So my point to you is make sure you're driving the bus towards your success. Don't get derailed with the industry, because it happens so fast. And you'll wake up one day and you'll go to the job site, the tools will be gone, all your material will be gone, everything will be stolen except that orange Home Depot bucket that'll be left there full of disgusting water, and you'll say, holy crap, that just happened, because it's happened to me. This to me is the most important piece of the thing. This is really not most important, but really cool and really important, is spending time on the design tool. I am the least technically savvy and design forward person in the world. I have no idea. Quite honestly, I wear black all day long, and if I could design a kitchen, I just paint it black. So no one probably wants to buy my product, but there are great visions out there and great design tools out there that allow you to create a layout. And I require, when we're doing our rehabs, for the layout to be done so I can see what that kitchen's gonna visually look like. I know what I like, I don't know how to design it. Anyone else have design flaws like me? I'm sure. So thinking through it, as you think through the design tools, you can create the bathrooms. You can create the kitchens. You can create the mud rooms and the living rooms, and all of the space you can do all in 3D with your iPhone or Android. We got a question? So the question is there a rule of thumb for what a rehab should cost per square foot? And here's what I'll tell you. It all depends. I look at the question in a different way. How much profit am I gonna look to make? So I look at it differently, right? So I take the ARV, the after repaired value, right? Then I'm trying to figure out what my purchase price is plus rehab, right? So these two numbers plus my profit. So this is the most important part, plus profit. So the question is, how much do you want to earn? So I've changed my approach significantly over the last couple years. I want to do 3 to 4 projects a year flipping houses, and I want to make the same amount of money as I'm making if I did 10 of them. So think about that. My average flip on a property used to be $35,000. Who's happy making $35,000 on a flip? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Who's happy making $50,000 on a flip? Who's happy making $10,000 on a flip? Put your average flip profit in the chat quickly. Peter, tell me what we're hearing from the group.
25K, 70, 25 to 50, 50.
So we're hearing 25 to 50. Okay?
30, 45, 75.
Okay, so let's go through these categories quickly. I'm sorry, we're gonna go on a quick tangent for a minute. So, because the question is such a great question, right? So my average flip today, I'm gonna do 3 to 4 this year. I've got 2 of them going right now. One's in demo, one's in completion mode. I'm almost done. I'll do 1 or 2 more this year. I wanna make per flip no less, any guesses?
75K, 55, 100.
I want to make no less than $100,000 a flip. I believe that I can do that. I want to make no less than $100,000 a flip. So how do you do that? There's only one way to do it. Buy right. That's it. I've had many great conversations with many great wholesalers and many great marketers. Here's the thing. When you get the one that you can swing for the fences on, that's the one I want. That's the one that I'll take down. Because if I know I can make 100 grand, it's worth my time and energy to do 4 of them, and we'll do the math together because I like arithmetic, equals, I want to make no less this year flipping houses than $400,000. If you're ready to do deals for $25,000 a flip, I encourage you to increase that to 35 and 45 and 55. Why do you not want to make more money doing less or make more money doing the same thing? There's only one way you can do that. Keeping everything the same, budgets and everything, is buy better. It's so simple. It's not like we have a crazy, I don't have a secret sauce. I don't have something up my sleeve that tells me I'm going to do better than you. I just have I'm going to call it the aptitude to tell somebody, your house, I only can pay you 100 grand. And if they tell me down the road, beat it, kid, have a nice day. You know how many times they've told me, beat it, kid, and they've come back and sold me the house? Oh, hundreds. I mean, the stories I can tell you. This person said they were going to close on it. Bull. This person's better than bull. Part of what you have to do is figure out how to make a profit. The lower your profit, the less threshold you have for error. So if you can buy better, you can take bigger swings. So the person that said they want to rehab for $25,000 a property, I commend you. I'm proud of you. Please tell me your next flip you did for 100 grand. Please on Instagram, let me know you just made it for 100 grand. I'll be more proud of you. Because you just could have done 4 flips. Instead, you did 1 and made the same amount of money. How hard are you going to work for that extra 50 grand? All you have to do is get 2 more leads. You got to get 2 more people to sell you houses. Well, it's work. Okay, you keep doing it for 25 grand. I'll do it for $75,000 more. I'll make 100, you make 25. And I'll not complain I'm working harder, and you can complain you're doing no work. Perfect. Deal. Anyone want a deal? Deal. Okay, tips to maximize. How do we get the most amount of money out of our investment, right? Tips to maximize. Let's talk about this, guys. Understanding ARV is so important, right? You can push threshold, you can push values, you can push them, but you can only push them so far. But investing in the kitchens and the baths on a fix and flip is the most important part of the business. People see the bedrooms, they're like, yeah, I sleep there. Everyone walks in and sees my 60-inch fridge in the kitchen. Everyone sees it and says, wow. I've never had one person not leave positive feedback. It's a GE refrigerator. It costs me $3,000. I buy the trim kit, puts a nice trim kit on the top. I buy a nice trim kit on the bottom, put a nice trim kit on the bottom. I now have 2 doors that open. One's a fridge, one's a freezer, and people are marveled. And they write the offer at what I'm asking or over immediately. Focus on the kitchens, focus on the bathrooms. When you're doing your when you're renovating, modernize. If you see one of those old stereos that's in the wall, that's from the 1900s at some point, pull those out. They don't work. No one wants them. And everybody has Sonos or Apple Music or a JBL speaker. Take those out of the house. Make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. How many people have left them in? Someone's got to have left them in. Someone said, I left that little microphone system in there because, or the intercom system, remember that from the 80s? Hey, room 4, come on up. How many people left them in, Peter? We got a couple people? Take them out. Show you care. It's easy. Drywall patching. We're on our way. And then don't over improve. Don't overspend on the finishes because you feel that something's gonna make it better for you. Stop feeling. Go with facts, go with the facts, and go with good product, but you don't need to add gold-plated countertops because you're not getting it any more than I'm gonna get for my quartz countertop in the modern renovation. Yeah, so the question is, how do you determine when to go on the overspend versus not? So I have a signature, right? My signature, that's my signature. My signature on my rehabs is my 30 and 30-inch fridge freezer. That's my signature. If I can put it in, if I have the functional space to put it in, I put it in every single time. So I overspend here, while I budget for it, I always overspend here by about $2,000. But I know I get this out of it because when I'm looking on the kitchens and the baths and people walk into it, the first thing they all say is, wow, look at all of this space. Look at all of this, I don't know. It looks so amazing that most people have never seen it before. So I overspend on this element of it. The rest of it's just in my standard budget. If it's a standard toilet or a Kohler toilet or a Toto toilet, nobody's gonna pay more or less because of it, because there's a toilet there. So thinking through it is find your signature. Does anyone want to steal my signature 30 by 30 fridge for their next rehab? Any takers yes far? Okay, send me a picture please. Put it in there, send me a picture. If you need the SKU for the product and the trim kit, I'm happy to share it with you. Just send me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you the SKUs. My SKUs are the same as your SKUs anywhere you are. But it's a phenomenal feature. Make the impacts where the impacts are required. Make the buyer appeal desirable for what you're doing. So we talked about modern renovations already. And then we talked about the cost-effective finishes. One thing that drives me a little crazy, and I'm sure we all have been guilty of it, is people that are not putting hardware on their cabinetry in their rehabs. Does everyone understand what that means, by the way? So this is hardware. This is how I open the drawer. Pull. This is how I open up the cabinets. If you don't put those on, it looks as though you haven't finished the job. Please make sure you're putting in hardware to make sure that it works. Hardware can be $1 a pull. So let's go through this. $1, $1, and $1. So those are $3. Add that to your budget under the miscellaneous items of, call it 50 bucks. All right, so cost-effective finishes, cost-ineffective finishes, okay? So we used to go with high-end hardware flooring. You can now go with LVT or LVP. It's a great product. It's widely acceptable today. These are the cost-effective finishes that you can consider. If a house has hardwood floors in it, you can refinish them for about $3 to $5 a foot. My suggestion is to always do that. The natural hardwood floors in homes sell houses. Do not pull those out of there, and do not put ceramic tile on top of them, please. Okay? Quartz versus laminate carpeting versus marble countertop. Quartz has really done a great job. Quartz has a phenomenal lifeline, longevity. It lasts forever. So does marble. They have a lot of the same features. They've got a lot more different colors, and it's so much easier to get installed on the quartz and the laminate countertops versus marble. Who's done a rehab and thought it was their bedroom and painted it purple, pink, yellow, or orange? Anyone? I hope not. We got a yes in there? Oh, we do? No yeses. All right. We got a solid crew here. Neutral paint colors, guys. Paint for the masses. If somebody wants an accent wall in their house, give them a brush and maybe a gift certificate to Sherwin-Williams at closing. But don't pioneer for them. Neutral colors. Stay away from the specialty finish paints and the finishes. And then energy efficient appliances, pro-grade appliances. So we talked a lot about this. I still consider my refrigerator to be an energy efficient appliance that is professional grade but doesn't cost it. So if you look at the traditional 60-inch fridges by Wolf or Sub-Zero, those are $10,000 to $20,000. They're really expensive. They're in this category. The refrigerator I put in is $3,000. It's not going to break the bank, but it gives you the same appeal that you have right here. So you can achieve everything by spending a little bit more time. Any questions? All right, just a quick health check that we check in on a business tip. Do a daily or weekly review of your investment properties and business performance. How many people are doing this? Check in on yourself. Check in on your properties. We're getting near the end of our time. I wanted to ask, do we have any other questions at this point? I wanted to open up for Q&A before we get through these last few slides. While we're waiting for the questions to come in, just a little bit about our funding source. We finance 1 to 4 family fix and flip loans, fix and flip properties. We fund the repairs, and we fund the acquisition up to 100% of the repairs and 90% of the purchase price. We can talk more about that. My goal is to make sure we're transparent, we operate with urgency, we're diligent, and we work here to hustle to get to your closings on time. We can talk about anything in the Q&A right now. So if you'd like to discuss anything about what we've discussed, now's the time, and let's just jump into it. The question is, what else do you do to separate yourself from others through using paint? And a lot of it is really contrast, right? So we would use a gray wall with an accent wall inside of it, or we would use a gray with a accent trim on side, as part of the paint scheme. Keep it simple, right? But it's so important under the paint process that you are not creating a problem for somebody. People walk into something. Have you ever seen someone see a car and they're like, whoa, is that ugly? And you're like, wait, the car's a Lamborghini. You're like, yeah, but it's orange. And that person doesn't like orange cars. So the Lamborghini is ugly, right? Well, has anyone seen the Mary Kay pink Cadillac? You ever pull up next to one of those pink Cadillacs and be like, damn, that is ugly? Well, the car's not ugly. The paint color's ugly. Keep it simple. Don't create the problem. You're trying to create the profit, not the problem. So the question is, my X's and O's on my current rehabs and what am I buying right now? I currently have 2 flips going on right now. They're both in the suburbs of Milwaukee. Okay, one is in a town called Fox Point, one is in a town called Shorewood. So what I look for is, I look in markets where I know that demand remains high, where the economy, specifically rising interest rates, have less of an impact on the ability for someone to buy a home. And so if you go to the suburban counties, there is less sensitivity to the economy today than there is in some of the cities, let's call it. So I'm in flipping houses right now in these markets where I'm in the suburban markets outside of the main metropolitan markets. That's for me. The other thing I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'm buying them right. I am making sure I am buying them right. People always trade out and someone says, well, 285, and then they say, well, how about 290? And I'm like, well, does everyone know the difference between 285? This is going to sound like a stupid question. And 290. Does everyone know the difference? Anyone know the difference?
Not yet.
Okay, here's the difference. Are you guys ready for the difference between these two? $5,000. So think about it. If you value on your ability to close, I will trade closing costs, I will trade closing time to give back me those $5,000. This is $5,000. Does everyone know how much money $5,000 is in today's world? A lot. So when people look at real estate, how many people go to the casino? Please say not many. How many people have been to a casino? Okay. How many people have put down $1,000 to on the table? Okay. What do they do? The first thing they do when you get there and you give them $1,000? What's the first thing they do? They take your money and they put them into these chips. Now it's not money anymore. Now it's a toy. Now it's some other denomination of currency. It's not money. You're not pulling out money, because how many people have gone to the store and said, I'm not going to buy that because it was 2 for $25 instead of 2 for $20. I'm not spending the extra $5, but you're going to go to the casino and put $1,000 down and get your chips. This is real money. This is $5,000. My point is, in the real estate game we're in, people diminish the value because you're under contract trading paper. Think about the number. I find my buy number. I tell you my profit is always in the buy. I make all of my money when I buy the property. So do you, by the way. You just don't realize it until you sell the property. Either do I. Same concept. But you earn the money here. How many people have said, oh, I'll give you $285, and then they're like $295, and you're like $290. And you're like, wait a second, I got it for $290. I'm like, wait, you just spent another $5,000. Value those dollars. Figure it out. It's $5,000. So my strategy remains discipline to the buy. If I can't get a good value, meaning a home run, if I can't get a home run out of the deal, which equals, what does a home run equal, guys? A home run for me equals $100,000. If I can't see myself making $100,000 on the flip, I'm going out the door. You know how many deals I've lost? Hundreds. I've lost hundreds of them. It's okay to lose deals. Not every deal's a deal, and guess what tomorrow brings? You ready for it? Another deal. And you know what happens after tomorrow? Another deal. Every single day, there are deals. Don't get lost in the trap of the casino. You're playing with real dollars. Be efficient, but don't get lost in the trap. Okay, we've got 10 minutes left. The question is the pros and cons between a private lender, a partner, and a hard money lender or a traditional lender. Well, traditional lenders, traditional lenders are obviously the most competitive, but they're the most dysfunctional, right? They don't understand fix and flip. They don't understand BRRRR. They don't understand how you can buy a house for $100,000 that's worth $500,000. They don't understand anything, right? Getting them to understand anything is not worth your energy. And the reality is, it doesn't really make sense for traditional lenders. They don't want to be in a loan for 3 months or 6 months. They want to be in a loan for 5 years. They'll even write a 10-year loan. Private lenders, whole different category. This is on you, the investor, to find the private lenders. That's what you can get them to do is up to you. There is no say in what traditional private lenders do. There is no market for it. Private lenders do everything and anything. Some say, I want 10% return on my money and I want to have 20% of the profit. Some people say I want 30% on my money. Some people say I want X. Some people say Y. It's really a question of how quickly can you get to the closing table. And then with hard money lenders like ourselves, we're a high interest rate, high cost, but our friction, meaning time friction, is very low. So I always say to people, well, you were willing to pay $5,000 more, but you don't want to pay a lender. Seems silly. Pros and cons to each. Time is not on your side with traditional lenders. With private lenders, there's a lot of relationship that has to be created. With a hard money lender, you have to know how to talk to them, give them a full package, and we can close your loan as fast as 10 days. I have our most successful borrowers are doing 3 to 4 deals a month. They've leveraged their $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 and are doing a month 1 to 4 loans. So that could be 12 to 48 properties a year. They're buying and holding. They're fixing and flipping. They've got crews. They're running it as a business. And let me tell you something. They are making so much money that if they have to spend a little extra money on interest and fees with us, it doesn't matter. They're creating true wealth at the end of the day. I always tell people, I gave away, if I went back and looked at my portfolio from 2003 to 2020, when I sold some of my assets and got rid of all of those partners, not in a negative way, I thank my lucky stars for them. They made probably $25 million. $25 million. And if I would have paid a hard money lender, I probably would have spent 10. I could have had 15 more million dollars. So partnerships are a challenge. I've had partners. They're difficult. How many people have a partner right now that's not carrying their weight? I had 1, 2. How many partners say they're going to do something and don't do it? How many partners have other priorities that are different from yours? I want to make money and make only money. I want to take care of my kids, feed my family, go to the casino, meet at the club, go to the bar. How many people have those people? You can do it yourself in today's day and age. It's so easy to do it. So think about what you're doing. Write down the plan. The math still works. Swing for the fences. If you have a great partner, be grateful for that person. Go do more with that person. I'm not telling you partnerships are bad. I'm just telling you when you add another person into life. Why does the world end with 50% divorce? Because the idea of the partnership of marriage didn't work out. Things changed. How many people end up in lawsuits in their businesses? Lots of people. I fortunately haven't. But it happens all the time. How do you find good contractors? It is about the network. I have worked so hard to find good contractors, and they all are troubled. It's part of the world. But you have to network through them. You have to find that reputable HVAC person, for example. I had a really good HVAC person who was able to, when I called, within 5 days, the system was installed, invoice was paid, everything was done. And I'd say, hey, who's a good plumber? Oh, I only use John Smith. Okay, can I meet with John Smith? Are you investing time to meet those contractors? Go to their office, take them out to lunch, meet them for breakfast, show them your rehabs, get involved, create a friendship. It will make your life better. Contractors, 95% of them have learned some trade and have some deficiency as to why they can't be successful. The number one probably small claims court is on contractors. Invest your time. You can walk down the halls of Home Depot. Hey, what are you doing here? Okay, how are you doing things? Find the crew that works for you. It is so hard. You should spend all of your time finding these people. Go on Google, get reviews. Pay more than you want to. Get to the finish line. It's such a hard part of the business. Yeah, so the question is, any advice for a handyman or contractor who's looking to switch and stop doing work for others and doing it for themselves? Build up a nest egg, first of all. Second of all, you have the most opportunity ever. You are the dream team on your own. You can do all the work. You have all of the resources. You know good from bad in terms of contracting. It's the hardest part is just getting through that first 1 or 2 cycles. What is it like to buy a house? What's it like to check out our rehab our webinar on some of the other ones on how to find properties. You can do this on your own. You can make more money. You'll make 10 times the amount of money. You'll build a wealth creation for your family that you've never seen before. You have the opportunity. If you can't do it right now on your own, partner with somebody. Partner with one of your customers that you hold in high regard. This guy is dependable. He pays me on time. He shows up at the job site. He's respectful. Okay, hey, sir, can I partner with you on a rehab? He's probably looking to say, hey, that's great. What does that mean? You do this, I'm going to do this. You put up the money, I'll put up the labor, you put up the materials, and let's split 20-80, 30-70. Build your nest egg, go to the next one. Great question. So the question is average time spent on a rehab per $5,000 increment. I don't really look at it that way, unfortunately. I look at it as I go to the job site with the contractor. Sometimes you have big ticket items. I'm doing a rehab right now and I had to do a full foundation repair. I had to put a roof on, siding on. It was more of a drag of a rehab that's going to take a little longer. I went to my contractor and asked him, when are we going to be done? And that's how I got to the date that was expectation-wise for me. So I'm hoping to be done with that one in the next 3 weeks. We've got concrete that has to be poured. The landscaper's already queued up, and we're going to be done. So I look at it more from a time frame of mapping out the documents not by dollars, but by task. And once you have the task in Monday.com or any of the other softwares you choose to use, then you can check off. I said this was going to be a 7-day job. If it got done in 5, good. If it's taking 8, you might have to gear up the contractor. Hey, we said this was going to be 7. Now you're on day 8. What's the status? Am I at the property checking on them? That's the important part. Holding them accountable to a schedule. I don't use dollar amounts. The question is buying a pre-foreclosure a good investment? We're going to be covering this topic in a future webinar. It's a great question. I think the bigger question really is underlying is how do we continue to find assets that are of value that we can create value out of, right? Whether it's a pre-foreclosure, a foreclosure, an estate sale, absentee owner, you name it. There's so much out there in terms of how do you find the asset you're looking for. Buying a pre-foreclosure it's all about the purchase price. So don't get lost in, and we'll talk about this in another webinar. Let's not get lost in the words that are very exciting today. Foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, probate, estate. They all mean the same crap. Buying distressed assets, right? We want to buy a distressed asset, whatever that is. And so we can get into distressed asset acquisition. We're going to talk about that in another webinar. It's a great segue into our next webinar. I just went past my time, and I want to be mindful of yours, because time still is the #1 commodity. My name is Scott Lurie with the Hard Money Co. I'm so grateful to have you join us today at our webinar. It's a free webinar, free. Please join, tell your friends. It's free. I hope you got some value out of this. You can find me at Hard Money Scott on Instagram. You can find me on our website. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. If you're looking for the SKU for my 60-inch fridge, I'd love to show it to you. I'd love to help you out. Our life is dedicated to being an investor and helping investors. I hope you find this to be incredibly valuable, and I hope that you go out there and start swinging for the fences. Take that $25,000 rehab profit, and let's get to 35, and I want to see you at 100. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm so grateful for you and your time, and as I said, hope to talk soon. Thank you, guys.